Let's go. It's not a... Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Mishnayos Daily. Today we're doing Perek of Mishnayos Brachos. So before we start today's Perek, I just wanted to sponsors, by the way. Okay, today's share sponsor Lila Nishmas Aaron Nachman Ben Simcha HaKohen and Yeshua Mordechai Ben Shepsel Brachos Sarah Bas Shmuel Leib and Binyamin Moshe Ben Yosef Ben Neshamas Aaron Aliyah. Amen. Yesterday's Perek, we were talking about the Brachos Kriyashma, and we talked about the ones that were longer, that you can't change the surah of the bracha that Chazal has set up. And I forgot to mention this concept of a bracha smucha l'chaverta, where, let's say by Mariv, you have the first bracha of Mariv Rav, you start the bracha to Hashem, and ends off with the Mariv Ravim. The next bracha, the next bracha starts with Alas Olam. It doesn't start with the Baruch. Because it's samach to the bracha that's right before it, and therefore doesn't need to have the opening of being a baruch. But I was thinking al pi machshava, Baruch Hashem, we have to. Good morning, Tovia. We have the concept of saying Meir brachas every day from David HaMelech. He instituted the policy to say 100 brachos every day to thank Hashem for all the good that we have in our lives, and we do that. That's part of the surah of the day. And but al pi machshava, do we ever stop to think about all the brachos that we have in our lives? Yes, we say all the brachos in the morning, all the brachos of Shachar. We're thanking Hashem for everything that we are putting on our shoes and for opening our eyes and stretching and everything. But then you have a bracha, smucha lechavet. So sometimes you have, Hashem gives you a bracha, and that's today's bracha. And sometimes he gives you a longer bracha, sometimes he gives you a shorter bracha, and sometimes he gives you a bracha that piggybacks off the bracha that's before it. It's a machshava to think about as we go further throughout the Shach Mishnayos. Just a point to ponder. Anyways, let's jump into Perek Beis. I don't want to hold you guys up. Haya Mishnah Aleph. Haya Kari b'Torah v'Yikiyas Man HaMekra. If someone is reading in the Torah and it comes time to Kriyashma, in Kiven Libo Yatz, if he has Kavana Yotzi with Kriyashma, then he is Yotze. But if he does not have Kavana, then he is not Yotze. So what does this mean? So Mishnah is talking about that if someone was actually the sofer, that he was writing a Sefer Torah, he was correcting a Sefer Torah, and he's reading either in Evas Chanan for the first paragraph of Shema, or Ekev, or in Shlach for the second and third parashas of Shema. So if he's reading and fixing a Sefer Torah, then is he Yotzi with the Zman Kriyashma?
So, please do not be in the first floor.
Who is not muted? Okay. Sorry about that. If you put yourself on mute, please, if you don't mind. Thank you. So if you have if you had kavana, if the sofer had kavana while he's checking the Sefer Torah to be yotze the mitzvah kriyashma at that time, then he, according to the Mishnah, he would be yotze. Now, I came up with a similar question. I was by a Yankees game with my son a couple weeks ago because we have finished 30 days learning Mishnayos, and it was Parshas Ekev. It was after dark, and I was being Marba Sedra at the Yankees game, and it was only after I read through the paragraph through the Elias, and I got the second paragraph of Shema, and I'm like, oops, I could have said Shema and had Kavana, the two things. We get to the second paragraph of Shema and to Yitzie Shnai Mikra, as Imar said at the Yankees game a couple weeks ago. But I didn't have that Kavana, and therefore I had Dalmar anyways later with Minion. It's all good. But that's my own personal anecdote. Anyways, continuing with Mishnah.
Is that not mitzvahs chavilas?
Well, why isn't it different from this Mishnah where you say that if he's reading the if he's reading the Torah and it comes down to Kriya Shema, the Mishnah says that if you had Kavanah, you could Yotzi. You're doing two things over here. So this Mishnah was a difference.
I wonder what the chiluk is, like chavilas in this Mishnah, like what the difference.
Sarach Ian. Sarach Ian is a good question. Sarach Ian. Anyways, continuing. So Beprakim Shoel Mifnei HaKavod Meshiv. So now we have this concept of Bein HaPrakim and in the middle of the Prakim. So Bein HaPrakim, if you look at some Siddurim, they have breakdown by Birchas Kriya Shema and by the Parashas of Shema, they have like different stops, and it's called Bein HaPrakim. So in between sections, you can greet someone out of respect, and you can return the greetings to anybody out of respect. But if you're in the middle of a paragraph or in the middle of a section, if you're in the middle of the first bracha of Kriya Shema, or second bracha of Kriya Shema, or one of the parashas of Shema, show up as Gira, that you can only greet someone out of fear, someone who might be able to take a person's life, like the king or someone, Umeshiv, and he can certainly return the greeting of such a person. That's according to Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, he disagrees a little bit. He says, Be'emsa Shob Yira, in the middle of the paragraphs, you can respond out of fear, but you could respond out of respect. So the guy who's greeting you, if you can take the person's life, then you have to respond to him. If you see the king or someone who can take a person's life, then you can greet him even in the middle of the paragraph, in the middle of the section. If someone who greets you, anyone who greets you, you can respond. But prakim show covered, but according to Rabbi Yehuda, between paragraphs, you can respond, you can greet someone out of respect, and you can respond to anyone who greets you. Now, halacha l'maisa, we don't do this because halacha l'maisa, we are not allowed to talk at all from the beginning. I mean, for the whole Brachos creation, this is more of the conceptualized. And just remember, we never paskin a halacha according to the Mishnah. The halacha comes down much later after you go through Talmud Bavli and into the poskim. So we don't paskin like the Mishnah. So the question is, Eila ben HaPrakim. What are the ben HaPrakim? So these are them. Bein bracha rishon l'shniya, between the first bracha and second bracha. So in the morning, it's right after Yotze Ma'oros, and the evening it's right after Amar Ravim. Those would be between the first and second bracha. And Shniya l'Shema. So after you say Avoch Rabbi Amo Yisrael in the morning, or Oev Amo Yisrael in the evening, that's between the second bracha and Shema. Then Shema Hayim Shema between the first and second paragraph. So Shema. Then Hayim Shema the second and third. And then and between the end of the third paragraph to Emes Yatzif or Emes B'Emuna at night, that's the fifth one. So there's five ben HaPrakim. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says ben Yomer Emes Yatzif lo Yatzif. He says there's no break between Yomer and Emes Yatzif, because you have to be mistarif the MS to Hashem location. Hashem location MS that cannot be interrupted. Therefore, you only have 4 ben HaPrakim. Amar Rabbi Shua ben Karcha, Lama Kadma Shema, the Hayim Shema. Why did they put the paragraph of Shema before Hayim Shema? Because I mean, I'm not really sure what the question is. I mean, it comes in the Torah. Okay, that's his question. Because they want you to be makabel the yoke of heaven first, all mitzvahs, and then afterwards you can be makabel the yoke of mitzvahs. Because if you don't respect and accept the kingdom of Hashem, then what are you doing everything else for? It's like we spoke about yesterday, that you put Shema first, because the Shema is all about the Emunah Ebitachon, and everything else comes after you have the foundation. That's the foundation. Okay. Hayim Shema Levayomer. So then why did you put the second paragraph as Hayim Shema and the third paragraph of Vayomer? Hayim Shema no Vayomer, because Hayim Shema is applicable day and night, because it has in there the mitzvah of studying Torah, which is mentioned day and night. But Vayomer Eno Nohig Ela Bayom. But Vayomer, which mentions the mitzvah of tzitzis, is only applies during the day. So we said yesterday about what Lazman Azariah said that he that Ben Zoma who darshaned to say Shema at night. Clearly there was a discussion about whether this last paragraph is relevant at night or not. Excuse me. Interesting. Mishnah Gimel, if you one who recites the Shema without making it loud enough for his ears to hear, like you're saying it silent, you're saying it quietly. Yatsa, it's good. Rabbi Yossi Yamer, oh Yatsa. Rabbi Yossi says, no, it's not good. You have to be able to hear what you're saying. However, you don't need to do it as loud for the other person across the hall to hear what you're saying, but you have to hear your own words coming out of your own mouth. Someone who read the Shema without being careful to say each of his letters carefully. Rabbi Yossi Omer Yotza. So he says it's good. It's not so much. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Lo Yotza. Yehuda says it's not for full obligation. You have to say each letter, each word properly. Hakari the Mafreya Lo Yotza. So if a person recites the Shema out of order, not necessarily each paragraph, like you read the third paragraph first, the second paragraph second, and then the first paragraph last, but rather if you recited the psukim out of order. So you took the first paragraph and you reversed it, and you said, you read out the first paragraph, the first sentence, and then you have after the last sentence, you reversed it backwards. That's a problem. I can't do that. Karavata. So if you read the Shema and you made a mistake, you forgot what you're up to, which happens sometimes because some of the words match in the different words, and I've had that many times where I get lost in my davening, and so I have to get recalibrated. Yakser the makom shetar. So you must go back to where you made the mistake. So if by the first paragraph of Shema you said, was it and you got mixed up with the second paragraph, so you have to figure out where you made the mistake and go back and fix it. Okay, Mishnah Dalet. Now getting more into the practical applications of Shema. Workers who are picking fruit from a tree, or they're building a stone wall, they may recite the Shema on top of the tree or on top of the wall, even though it's difficult to concentrate due to the fear of falling. Since it's a short tefillah, and it's a short situation, then they could say Shema and get back to work. But but this is not something that they can do during Shmones. Shmones requires more focus and more concentration. It's longer than Shema. Therefore, he has to come off the tree or come off the wall, climb down to ground level, and focus on Shemona Esrei and its proper, with the proper concentration. Mishnah Hey, Chasen Potter Kriya Shema, but Laila Harishon Amos Shabbos. So back in the day, as you're going to learn later in Subas, that they used to get married on Wednesday nights. So this Chasen, he's Potter, he is not obligated to say Shema on the first night of his wedding. They got married Wednesday night, on Motzi Shabbos. So Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Motzi Shabbos, in the Masamais. So if he didn't yet consummate his marriage, for whatever reason, during the first 4 nights, he's not obligated to say Shema the first 4 nights, which is interesting. Like, A, why is it taking so long to consummate his marriage? And B, why can't he say Shema? But Shema needs such concentration that he's not, he's being so preoccupied in his mind that he's not going to be able to concentrate if not done properly. This is referring to a man and a woman who have both not been married previously. If it's a second marriage and they both were previously married, then he doesn't have this type of leniency, as the Gemara explains. So, Maisa Barama Gamliel Shekara Balayla Rishon Shinasa. Rabbi Gamliel is a story now. Rabbi Gamliel married, who read Kriya Shema on the first night of his wedding. He got married, and right away, even before he consummated his marriage, he said Shema. I'm lo tamidav. So the student said to him, Lo li v'adatana Rabbeinu shechasen pater mikriya Shema b'layla harishon. Didn't you teach us, Rebbe, that a chasen is not obligated to say Shema on the night of his wedding? Amalahem. Right, so if that's the case, so why are you saying Shema for it? So Amalahem, any Shema lechem levatu meni malchus Shema mefilu sha'achas. Yes, that's the general rule, that you're not allowed to say Shema the first night of your wedding, but I am not going to release myself from declaring my allegiance to the kingdom of Shemayim for even one moment. He took on an extra chumrah because he was so loyal to Hashem, which is not something that he was able to focus on both things, and therefore he was the exception to the rule at the time. Mishnah Vav, Brachos Lala Rishon Shemesh Ishto. So again, Rav Gamliel. Now the next couple of Mishnayos don't necessarily have to do with Kriya Shema, but once you start talking about the Mises from Rav Gamliel, so the Mishnayos are juxtaposing a couple more Mises. So Rav Gamliel washed himself in warm water on the night after his wife was nefter. Presumably, she was also buried, although this might be an onen or it might be during Shiva. Amalo Tamidav, his student, said to him, didn't you teach us that a mourner, that an avel, is forbidden to wash himself? So why are you washing? You're not going to bathe for 7 days. Why are you washing? Amalahem, he said to them, I am not like all other people because I am always cold. He felt very uncomfortable being cold, so that others he washed in warm water. So therefore, it's not bathing for pleasure; rather, it's bathing for almost medical reasons. But so therefore, he allowed himself to bathe even during Shiva. Mishnah Zayin, the third Ma'aseh with Rav Gamliel, Ukeshemesh Tevi Avdi. Shemesh Tavi Avdo, when his servant Tavi died, Kiba Allah Tanchum. So he accepted condolences. He was almost like saying shiva for his slave, which is unheard of because in every Kanani you don't say shiva for. Amalo Tamidov. So the student said to him, "Well, Rabbeinu she'ein mekabel tanchumim al havadim. Didn't you teach us that we do not accept condolences for Canaanite slaves?" David Kanani. So what's going on over here? Amalahem Gamliel said to them, "Ein tavi aldi kashakal. Wasn't kosher. My slave Tavi is not like the other Erekanim. He was kosher, and therefore I can accept condolences and grieve for him upon his passing." I think the Rizal says that Tavi was a Gilgal of Cham ben Noach. Cham, after they came off the boat, Cham saw his father in a moment of disgrace, and he prevented his father from having a fourth child, and therefore Noach was very upset about that, and he cursed Cham's descendants, that Cham's fourth child, which was Canaan, to be slaves forever. So the Rizal says that Tavi was an Evet Kanani, and he was a Gilgal from Cham, and he got to such a point where he was masakin the chait of Cham, and therefore Gamliel was now reciprocating that chesed to the neshama of Cham ben Noach. That's according to the Rizal. Also, other Mepharshim say that many Evet Canaanim did not act morally, but Tavi was such a upstanding citizen and a person. He didn't behave in any indecent behavior. And Mishnah Ches, I just wanted to point out before we finish up with Mishnah Ches that we have here 3 stories from Gamliel, and this morning when I was preparing the shir, I was thinking about this, and there's another machshava. Yesterday's Perek, we had the Maisa with Rabbi Gamliel and his sons. The sons didn't read Shema, and he said you have to read Shema. And then in Mishnah Beis, when we talk about the Bnei Malachim, this is in Perek Aleph, that the Bnei Malachim that they woke up like 3 hours into the day, I was wondering myself, like, who are these Bnei Malachim? Because we had no Malucha at that point of time. This is after Chorim Bayesheni. So who were the Bnei Malachim? I don't think that Chazal were masakin the Yechus Kriya Shema by the Umas Ha'olam. I'm not sure if that's true or not. So I was speculating maybe these Bnei Malachim were the sons of Rabbi Gamliel, because if they went to sleep, if they were up so late from the previous night and they didn't say Shema, so they probably slept late the next morning. They didn't say Shema in the morning, so therefore, to be kind to them, they want to mention them by name in the Mishnah, and therefore they called them Bnei Malach. This is my own speculation. That's my machshava. But anyways, when you have these stories, so the first story that we had today with Gamliel was that his students asked him the question about saying Shema the first night. So if that's the night that Rabbi Gamliel got married, so Mistama, his sons were not alive yet; they weren't born yet because he just got married. So that makes sense. But where were his sons during the second Mishnah when Gamliel's wife passed away? Right, it's the students that asked the Shaila and not his sons. So what's up with that? And I was also wondering, like how long was Rabbi Gamliel the Nasi for? Because you're going from the time that he got married until the time that his wife died, which presumably was many years later. Was he nasi for so long? Maybe he married more than one wife. I don't know. I'm speculating over here. And then thirdly, you have the story with Tavi. At some point, did he have the slave while he was married? Was it after his wife died that he then got a slave? There's a couple of questions over here that I was thinking of this morning. I don't have any answers yet, but that's my machshava, and I actually started writing this down in a Google Doc as under the title of Mishnayos anecdotes, and hopefully that will turn into a printed book one day. But we'll see where it goes. Anyways, let's finish up Mishnah Ches. Chasan imasa likros kriyishma the Rishon Kori. So after we learn the Mishnah Hey that a Chasan is not obligated to read Shema, the Tanaim disagree whether he is permitted to say Shema. So if you're not, are you not obligated, but therefore you're still allowed to? You don't have to, or are you restricted? So the Mishnah says that if a chassan wants to say Shema on the first night of marriage, he doesn't have to, but he can recite it. He's still yotz the mitzvah. He does. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, Omer, one of the sons of Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Shimon, who was just talking about the sons from the first paragraph. For the first paragraph, he says no. Lo kol harotze litol es Hashem yitov. That not everyone who wants to assume the reputation of a righteous person may do so. And they can't make up their own rules. So we said that they cannot say Shema on the first night, the first couple of nights, except for special people. And therefore he said you can't do it. So even if it says that he's not permitted to say Shema until he consummates his marriage, according to the son of Rabbi Gamliel. That is the end of Perek Beis. I'm going to stop the recording. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, thank you.